Can I say good morning? Good morning, friends. For those of you who are here, thank you for finding us. We're having some glitches with Facebook, and I'm not really sure why. I've gone through the process of determining whether it was me or Facebook this morning, and it's Facebook this morning. Sometimes it's me. And so we were in the event page, and we were ready to go live, and the Go Live Now button said, I'm gray. It wasn't touchable, so it didn't work. So welcome to the Thursday morning Facebook Live here at Town and Country Quilt Shop. My friend Sandy is joining us because my other partners in Facebook Live have other things going on today. So hi, Brenda and Irene, if you're watching this later. What? Hello, Joe. How are you? So my name is Tara Tom. We're in Albion, New York. And while we're waiting for some people to get on, I'm just going to talk about the weather yesterday because did any of you witness the wacky weather in Western New York? I was visiting my dad and came out from where I was and it was 75 degrees out. And I was like, why am I wearing my coat? And then I was driving home, and by the time I got home, it was pouring and 40. So I don't know if anybody else had that experience, but go ahead and pop into the comments if you have had that experience. And speaking of comments, I just wanted to let you know if you're new here that we do a couple of different things on the Facebook Live. One of those is we do a drawing for comments. So if you would like to be entered into said drawing, all you need to do is comment on the live, and then at the end we're going to decide who was the winner based on random. We've chosen a number ahead of time, so and then the more you comment, the more likely you are to win the prize, which we already have ready for you, but I'm not going to show you because it's a surprise. All right, so I'm going to make a couple of announcements before we get into the demo. One of those is we have one spot left still for the class for this quilt that's featured behind me, the Dutch Rose. So if anyone is interested, let me know. The class is going to take place on April 12th. I don't remember the time. Wednesday, April 12th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. So that's like a half a day class, and you'll learn how to make just that one block. So it's going to be a fun class. It's going to be taught by Linda Luther. The next announcement we have is we have a new class schedule. I know a lot of you have been asking, do we have any new classes coming out? And we do. We actually have some new classes and some repeat classes. So if you missed out on some of those, then you might have a chance to get in on the spring summer session. So we're going to be doing an open house on the 15th of April. This is on a Saturday, so we'll be here from 10 to 2, and we'll have the teachers here, and you can come in and see all the class samples and sign up for classes. And then, of course, you'll be able to sign up after that too. And we'll have all the classes up on the website. Some of them are Zoom. Most of them are not. But that's something else that's coming up. Also, we are coming into quilt show season. So I know that there are several shows coming up in the next couple of months. And one of them I am going to be vending at. So we are going to be taking some products and some kits and some pre-cuts to the clearance quilt show, which is at the end of April, and that is going to be April 21st through the 23rd. So it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I've never been to the clearance show, but I know some of the ladies who are part of the guild there, so come on out and see what it's about. And that's April 21st through 23rd. We'll have more information as the time gets closer, posted on the website and in the emails. So speaking of emails, if you are not on our email list and are interested in learning what's new, what's coming up, or getting a chance to watch the video afterward and not have to go through Facebook, then you can pop over to our website and there'll be a newsletter sign up, and you can just add your email there, and then you will be in our flow, and we'll be able to send you an email every week, and you'll be able to see what's coming up, see what classes we have, and all that stuff. All right, so the last thing I think is this is the first month since we launched this that we have a 5 Saturday month. So what we said last fall when we did our anniversary sale, some of you qualified for a logo bag. I don't have any left, or else I would show you what it looks like, but it's a white bag. It's about this big. It's got handles. And we call it the logo bag because it has our logo on it. So on the 5th Saturday of every month, if you bring your bag in, then you can save 20% on anything that you can fit in your bag. So that's going to be a great opportunity to do some savings if you're looking for some backings or really anything. If you can fit it in the bag, you can save 20% on it. So that is going to be April 29th, also the day of the dance recital, which is going to be an interesting thing to make up for. Speaking of dance recitals, I shared a little bit about Sarah last week. I'm going to share another nugget about Sarah this week. And I hope she doesn't watch it because she'll probably be mad at me. But last night we were at Parent Week. She's 16 and she was doing point, except she wasn't wearing her point shoes. I'm like, what's wrong with your shoes? And she said, they don't fit. And she said, they didn't fit last week. I'm like, do you know how many days there are between now and recital? So I have to order point shoes today and pray that they fit when they come in and pray that they get in time and that she can whatever, warm them up, wear them out, break them in. So the struggle is real, but it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Don't tell Sarah. If you see Sarah, don't tell her I griped about her on Facebook Live because I'll be in trouble. All right, so moving on, past dance recital day. Let's talk about those logo bags again, because we also have a monthly contest where if you bring your logo bag into shop, then you get to fill out one of these little tickets. It says admit one, and you can write your name on it. And then in the first Facebook Live of the next month, we're going to choose who's the winner. And the winner of this month's drawing is going to win this Town and Country Quilt Shop gift certificate valued at $10. So let's see who that's going to be. And oh, I should show this to you. I have this little bowl just so that you know I'm not cheating at all, not picking my favorite, because I have no favorites, just like my kids. All right, Carrie Standish, you are the winner of this $10 gift certificate for bringing in your logo bag. So we will put your name on it and we'll have it here. I think you're going to be here tomorrow. So we'll see you tomorrow and you will have $10 to spend on whatever you want. All right, so in the title of the Facebook event page, which by the way, my apologies that did not work. I hope that you made it over here. If you were on the event page, I hope that you made it over here. But today, because I'm flying solo, although I do have Sandy to help, I thought that maybe I would do a little bit of teaching on one of the things that I notice pretty often because I'm a longarm quilter, and that is that in general, your patterns don't tell you how to put borders on. The patterns, the books, unless they're like a beginner book, they just tell you to apply the border. And there's a way to do it that is helpful, and there's a way to do it that is not helpful. And sometimes I think people just sew their border strips together, and then they just keep them all sewn together. They put them on the side of their quilt, and then they don't like keep anything square. And what ends up when you do that is wavy borders. And what I mean by wavy borders is like if you were to lay your quilt out flat on the floor, sometimes, and I've seen this many times, sometimes you can see just a little bit of wave in your borders because there's some fullness there because the borders are essentially longer than the quilt top. So I'm going to show you how to prevent that. But first, because I'm using a panel here, I wanted to show you a little trick that I have employed using panels. So Sandy, I'm going to have you bring the camera down so that you can see what's on my board here. And this is just a simple panel. It's about the size of a placemat. So I'm going to create a placemat out of it. But one thing that is true of panels is like you can see where the straight of grain isn't so straight. And if this were just fabric that didn't have a panel on it, we would just cut it in whatever straight line we wanted to cut it, whatever measurement. But sometimes it helps using your clear ruler to, instead of cutting by a measurement, cut by one of the lines on the panel. So in this case, we've got this, you can see this blue line has a little bit of cloud in it. And I'm going to use this ruler, and I'm going to line the ruler up on the blue line with about a half of an inch, with exactly a half of an inch away from that blue line. So Sandy, can you see here where this blue is a little bit off of the line? So keep the camera right there, and I'm going to show what I do. I will just give it a little tug. Sometimes I'll scratch it with my fingernails or just give it a little tug. And what I want to do is make sure that that blue line is along my ½ inch, and then I would rotary cut this. Now it's not always going to be a ½ inch, it's just however far apart or far away from the line you want it to be. Sometimes you might want to do a ¼ inch, and then your seam line should, if everything works out perfectly, your seam should go right along that line if you cut it right there. But I didn't want to have it that way. I wanted to have a little bit of white in between my seam and that blue. So that's just a little tip in working with panels. They're not as straightforward as working with regular yardage. So I just wanted to give that little tip. So we're done with this one. And then I wanted to show this panel, same panel, has one border on it. I applied this border on the top, and this will show you, and let me know, Sandy, if you can't see that little bit of white strip that was created by cutting that ½ inch. And you can see that it is not perfect, and it is not, you know, it's not going to win any awards. I think just for argument's purposes, we're going to leave that there because that's not what we're worried about today. So I just wanted to show you, this is pretend that this is a very big quilt, not a little bitty thing, but I wanted it to be able to fit in the camera frame. So I created this quilt top, and then once you have your quilt top all together, what you want to do, rather than sewing your border strips together and just sewing them on the side, is you want to measure how long you want your border strips to be. And the way that we determine that, in order to keep that quilt top as square as possible and keep your borders keeping the sides together, is you're going to measure the distance between, I folded this in half, this is folded in half, you're going to measure the distance between this side and this side across the middle of your quilt. Now some folks would do it in 3 different places. So across here, across the middle, and then across here, which is like, you know, it's probably like every 4th of the quilt. I don't do that, but it's okay if you do that. And then once you have those 3 numbers, you can take the average. And what that will tell you is how long your border should be. So in this case, this quilt per se is 21½ inches wide. And so what I did for this border is I cut my strips. This is an example of what a strip looks like. And then when you're sewing them together, you want to sew them just like you do the binding. Not everybody does that. This is how I do it. You could sew them either end to end just with a ¼ inch, or I do it on a diagonal, so that if I had a big quilt, I would have all of my length sewn together on a diagonal. But I took a strip like this because it was bigger than my top, and I cut it into a piece that was 21½ inches long. So here's my border piece, and you can see that when you put it on the top, it fits just right on that quilt top. Now, sometimes you will find that on the edge of your quilt top, it is not the same dimension as the middle of your quilt top, in which case you'll have some fullness one way or another. Either the length of your border will give you some fullness, or the length of your top will give you some fullness. And what we want to do with this process is ease that fullness across the whole top of the side of your quilt. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to take both pieces, and by both pieces I mean both the border and the top, and you're going to fold them first in half and then in quarters. And most of the time, it's going to be a lot bigger than this, but you're going to fold it first in half and then in quarters, and then you're going to put it on your pressing surface, and you're going to take your iron. And this is an Oliso iron. I don't know if you heard that noise, but when you put an Oliso iron down and you let it go, it pops up. So that's one of the fun things about it. And then when you put your hand back on it, it goes back down. And so what I did was I put a nice heavy crease at one side of those quarters, quarter inch or quarter of the top points, and then another nice heavy crease on the other side. So I'm going to put that aside, and I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to fold it in half and then fold it in half again. And by the way, feel free to ask questions because Sandy is watching for comments. So if you have a question in the middle, then she can let me know. So I folded that in the same way that I folded the border, and I'm going to do the same thing here. Oops, I don't want to do that. And I'm just going to put a nice crease in there. So what that's telling me is both the halfway point and the quarter points. So we've got this quilt top here. I'm going to lay that down on a nice flat surface, either a table or your pressing mat or whatever you have that's got enough space. Sometimes you'll have to do half at a time. So you're going to lay that out, and then we're going to take our border, which is the same size as the middle, and we're going to lay that out on top. And actually we're going to do it this way. So what I've done here, the reason I just flipped it around is because right here is where my creases are on this side of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to scooch it up to the top so that it's even. They're both even. We're going to take a pin and we're going to line up this crease and the crease on the border. We're just going to put that pin in. I do them perpendicular with some sticking out here because I don't like to sew over my pins. We're going to put that there. We're going to put this one here. And then if this were a huge quilt top, you would fill in between also. I like to have my pins just about this far apart. So if your quarters are like this big, then you would want several pins in between. Then we're going to put it over here. And then one over here. So then you've got your border pinned to your top. And you can just take it to your machine, sew that quarter inch, pulling your pins out, and then you have a nice border on your top. But what if your border is a lot wider than the side of your quilt because the side is somehow your seams are not right or whatever, so that your side is smaller? So we're going to pretend that's the case over here. So our border is going to be bigger than or longer than the top. So I just created that problem here. So we've got some border hanging off here. So what we're going to do is we're going to pin the center point. Now I've exaggerated this. It won't be this much bigger, but I'm just exaggerating it just to show you how it's going to work. So we kept the center point where the center point should be. We put the end point where the end should be, and then we've got a whole lot of fullness in here. And so we're going to try to even that out a little bit. This is very extreme for demo purposes. It won't usually be this big, but we're going to even out that. And then we're going to line up those center points again. And we're going to ease in that fullness. And in most cases, when you stretch this a little bit like that, it will all flatten out. And so as you're sewing on your machine, you're going to give it a little stretch so that all of that fullness is eased in. And the same is true if you have the opposite problem, which means if your quilt top is bigger than your border, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to line up those points, and then you're going to ease that fullness in between them and do your best to even it out. And the reason for that is because the fullness is there. And if the fullness is there and you just send it to the quilter or you quilt it yourself, it's still going to be there. So what you want to do is try to minimize that. And also you want your quilt top to be square. So this is a way to contribute to both of those problems where you're easing in that fullness so it's not all in one spot, and you're also making a nice square quilt top. So there's my tip of the day. And I haven't heard any questions from Sandy, so I'm guessing we're just listening and we don't have any questions. But if you do later and you want to add them to the comments, I'm going to be monitoring those comments so that we can check that out. So there's your little quick tutorial on putting borders on your quilt. And I'm going to be making some placemats out of these because I just love these butterflies. They're so pretty. So there's that, and we've got 2 borders on so far. So we'll see how that goes. All right, so what is next? Oh, I already mentioned her once today, but I'm going to say something about Linda Luther again. I don't know how many of you have been in the shop, but if you have, you may have noticed that we have upped our display game. And that means that Linda has upped our display game, and she has been changing up some displays here. And I'm going to take advantage of that and show you what she's put together for this week. I don't know, I think she did it when I was away, but it's April, and 4 months from now, it's going to be July, and it's going to be warm, and we're going to want to have some 4th of July celebrations. Actually, about 2 months from now, it's going to be Memorial Day, and we might want to have some patriotic celebrations then too. So we have a couple of patterns and a whole bunch of fabric to just kind of get your creative juices going about what you might like to make for those holidays. And I'm going to sneeze, so be prepared. Maybe I'm not going to sneeze. I guess not. Anyway, so this is a pattern for a table runner. It's from Cut Loose Press. And it is a quick put together, nice patriotic table runner. And on the back here, it gives you some idea of scale of those stars. Those are the star applique patterns. This table runner works out to be 52 by 24, so that's a good size table runner, maybe for a dining room table. And that is made using red, white, and blue fabrics. This could even be done with scraps, honestly, but that's a pretty one with some patriotic flair. And this one is called America the Beautiful. This one is 28 by 40, so a little bit wider and a little bit shorter. And that's a great flag motif. Nice thing to maybe put on your front door, or if you've got some shelter on your front door. But and that uses a modified log cabin technique. And the directions are on the back. So these are just 2 of the options that we have available here for making something with a little patriotic flair. And we're not going to take all day, but we're going to quickly show you the fabrics that are supposed to be in the trunk, because that's where Linda put them, and they look really nice there. So I'm just going to go through some of our red, white, and blue options. This is a newer fabric. This one is from the Isabella line. Did you have a question?
Yes, those patterns are in the shop.
They are in the shop. The patterns are in the shop, and they're also on the website. So if you go to the Facebook page, Facebook Live page, you will see them there. Or if you want to take a look at it, then come on down. So that's from Isabella. This one is a nice ombre. I think this one would be cool on used with just this being the blue, so that you have some variation on that one with the zigzags. So there's a nice blue ombre. I'm going to do the blues first. And this is a nice navy blue. This is a Moda from, I think, Eleanor's Endeavor. Yep. And this is a great example of how you can use fabrics from different lines. You don't have to always use a whole, like, one line of fabric to coordinate them. These all coordinate great, and they're from all over the place. This is another Moda. This is from, I think, the same one as that first one, the same line. Maybe not. This is a nice little itty bitty, they're like light blue dots. Sandy's going to hold it up so you can see it. This is a great blue shadow blush from Benartex. Is that good? Mm-hmm. And then we've got an extra wide backing fabric, which is quite heavy, so bear with me for a sec. And this is pretty classic stars. Looks like the stars on a flag, and it's a very much a navy blue, and it's a wide back. Oh, thank you. So the next is a blue and white or blue and cream, maybe a little burlap look stripe. That's from Benartex as well. Oh, sorry. You okay? And then we've got some reds. So there's this nice and it's a cream background with some red floral. So pretty. Here's another red with a nice little floral motif. Florals and geometrics in that one. This one is one of our favorite blenders. This is seed fabric. We featured some last week too. This is the watermelon colored seed fabric. That's from Corey Dentini for Free Spirit. And this is another fave. These are Folio Basics from Henry Glass, and that is the true red color. That's also, I think, maybe featured in our Saturday sampler. And then we've got just one last red, and that's a Moda Bella Solids. I think this one is Betty Red, or nope, this one's Christmas Red. Yeah. So these are the reds, and then we got a couple of whites and creams too to offset those. This one has itty bitty stars. Sandy, can you hold that up and see if you can see those stars? That's a white on cream with stars. That's similar, a little bit lighter cream, white on cream with little, they look like X's. They remind me of cereal for some reason. I'm not really sure. Yeah, they do look like Lucky Charms, except for the marshmallows. And then that one is a dandelion. Looks like a dandelion. That's the seed when it's ready to go to seed or has gone to seed. And that one is a true white on white. It's a nice crisp white. So that would offset these reds and blues very well. So there's our collection for the week. And that is available in the store. And I also listed these online if you're an online viewer. And they're in the trunk in the store if you're wanting to do some projects while it's raining outside, for when the weather gets warmer and the sun comes out. It'll be a fun thing to do. All right, so what do we have next? Well, the next thing is something I've been looking forward to. So last week, if you were here last week, we talked about how we are not going to do an item of the week every week, but we're going to change it to an item of the month. And for those of you who are new, the item of the month or week, but we're doing month, is something that is a pre-order only. So it's something that's sometimes a big ticket item, sometimes not so big, but you get an opportunity to save on it, but you have to pre-order it. So in this case, we're going to extend this deal for the whole month. So up until April 30th, this item is available for you to pre-order. We'll pre-order it on the 1st. And then once they come in, then we'll give you a call and let you know. And we've done this item before, but it's been a long time. So we're going to do it again. And the item of the month, this month, is the Oliso Iron. It is, what is this? This is the Pro something. The TG Pro, 6000 Pro Smart Iron. And I used it for the demo, and I use it all the time. And this is a great iron. It's got a good weight to it, but it's not too heavy. I can see the waves of heat coming off of it. So it's a nice hot iron. It also has a great reservoir and a great spout for putting water in it. Great job of steaming. I don't have water in it right now, so I can't demo. It has first and spray options, and it comes in several colors. This is the pink. This is the one that we have in the shop. And then it also comes in orchid, which is a nice sort of a reddish magenta like purple. Comes in turquoise, which is a very pretty turquoise. A yellow, which is a light yellow, like a little bit lighter than a dandelion. Oh, where's my mic go? Oh, it's right here. Can you hear me now? I hope so. Thank you. All right, so we're back in action. So if you couldn't hear what I was saying, just to wrap up the past couple of minutes, we're offering the Oliso Iron as our item of the month, which can be pre-ordered until the 30th of this month. We'll order them on the 1st of May. And it comes in several colors. The pink that I showed, an orchid color, which is a nice reddish purple, turquoise, yellow, which is a nice buttery yellow, a little bit paler than a daffodil, and a new print, new to me anyway, which is called leopard print. So I haven't gotten all those colors up on the website yet, but if you come in, you can pre-order them, and they will be here on, well, after the 1st, because we'll order them on the 1st. And the price, the normal retail price of these irons is $245.99. For this month's pre-order deal of the month, it's going to be $199.99. So that's a pretty good savings. That's almost $50 in savings. And once you have one of these irons, you will love how well it works. I used to use a different brand, and I really loved that brand. And then I had a couple of irons of that brand that kind of wore out before I thought they should have. So I finally switched, and I'm very glad that I did, because I really like this iron. And I really like the fact that it rises and falls, and that you can leave it down, because I don't know, as I've gotten older, this motion of picking up something heavy has been kind of challenging for my shoulder. So I like that it's just flat and you don't have to pick it up, so that it can be in rest mode. So that is the item of the month for the month of April, the Oliso Pro Zone Iron, and it will be available both online and in store. And if you want to call, we can do that too. The number is on the website, phone number. All right. So have we got our comment winner, Sandy? We have our prize. Sue Landis, you are the winner chicken dinner of our comment contest, and you're going to win this very effective sewing themed emery board. So this can be used on your fingernails, of course, everybody knows that, but it can also be used if you get a little nick in one of your rulers, or it could be used if you have a little nick on your cutting mat. You can kind of sand off the edges. So we can turn anything into a sewing tool. So this is for Sue Landis, and you can come and pick it up. Rose motif that is done in blue and white and a little bit of turquoise. And this fabric is available at the shop or on the website, and it's $3 a yard. So that's a deal. So that is our 3 for this week. That is, what is it called? It is called Blue and White Romance. So if you're searching for it on the website, that's the name of it. And there's a bunch of it left. So if you need it for a backing, there it is, $3 a yard. Can't beat that. All right. Our number 2 for 321 is this mini mosaic batik fabric rooster pattern. And this is a very fun project. You cut little squares, and we actually have the tool for doing that in the shop and on the website. And then you put them together to make this rooster. And that is going to be half price, normally $16, but for this week, it's going to be $8. So if you ever wanted to try your hand at mosaic quilting, that would be a great place to start. And that is our number 2 for this week. And our number 1 is just in time for Easter. This is the last one of these left. That's why it's number 1. We're doing this at half price as well. This is called Berry Baskets Mini, and it's a pattern for a mini quilt, which is 22.5 inches by 30.5 inches. I'm going to have Sandy hold that up. It's from A Quilting Life, and it's super cute. That would be great for a May decoration or, of course, some Easter decoration, but very cute. So that's going to be half price. All of these items are available for shopping on our website if you're not local, or shopping in the shop if you are, or shopping on the website and picking up at the shop if you're local but just don't want to shop during the day and want to maybe do it in your pajamas. So I thank you for joining us, and I thank Sandy for helping with the camera and checking on the comments. And I will see you again next week. I don't know if I'm going to be alone or not, but hey, as long as I'm alone, I don't have to wear those ridiculous headbands. So that's good. All right, we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.